in the first phrase starts at measure 5, and in measure 7, 8, 9, measure 10, you can't play the melody with the accompaniment the way it's written. So if you change it so that it's, let's see, that would work better. So just make the accompaniment only 1, 2, rest, 1, 2, rest. Okay, and then it's really unclear at measure 19. If you want that note to be longer, just write it out how many counts you want it to be. Okay, then this next section, the left hand is really awkward to play. If you just want 16th note runs, then you should change it so that there isn't a third in the middle of the run. It's mostly all seconds instead. You could start the run with a third and then make the rest of it all seconds. Okay, in the next part at 23, the right hand G quarter note is in the way of, like by itself that's fine, but having the G in the way is awkward. So I would just maybe leave it out or find a different note that's not going to block what the left hand is doing. Okay, and then at measure 33, the right hand 16th notes are written in a very playable way, and it's mainly because the skip of bigger than a second is at the correct point in the phrase. So it's all seconds, and on the third beat we have a jump of a fourth. So it's easy to play it that way. There isn't an awkward jump somewhere in the middle of the 16th notes. And then the rest of it is just a repeat from the beginning. So it's the same idea for the second half of the piece. It's really well written, but can I make a couple comments anyway?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so as you know, when we go up the keys, the strings get shorter, so naturally the sound gets smaller. Even if you're playing really loud, the sound's going to be softer. So in measure 3, there's a crescendo to forte, but the notes are going up higher, and you let go of the left hand. There's a half rest on the second half of the measure. So if you want to make it louder, it's not really going to be louder. So I'll play it the way it's written, and I'll drop out the left hand on the half rest where it's written. Start softer. So up here, you really can't make it louder when it's single notes. So if you really want the crescendo, you should keep the left hand chord and maybe add more to it as you go through the measure. So this is measure 3 again with just a little more added in to make a crescendo. Because I have the left hand going, it's easier to make a bigger sound because the left hand, the lower strings are longer, so you can crescendo on them. It's the same thing at measure 15, 2 bars before letter B. Again, the right hand is going really high and the left hand drops out with a quarter rest, so it's really hard to make that crescendo there also. And then just a couple of notation questions. At measure 31, do you really need to have the retard there? Because if you do, then there should be an a tempo maybe at rehearsal A2 because it's back to the opening theme. Then also the other retard is at measure 45. 4 measures, it's like impossible to gradually slow. Retard means gradually slow down little by little, and you can't do that for 4 measures. So I would suggest moving that retard to the last 2 measures, or even, let's see, so 45, 46, measure 47, you could put the retard just like on beat 3, and then it could slow down just a little bit at the end. As pianists, we practice scales in thirds and in sixths and in octaves, but we never practice them in fourths. So just because it's awkward to play where there are parallel fourths. measure 6 and measure 14. If you write the half note in the right hand as a quarter note tied to another quarter note, then the left hand syncopated rhythm will make more sense, because then we'll be able to see that it's 1, 2, tied to 3, then this is and 4, and because I know it's supposed to sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, but just having that half note long in the middle of the measure makes it difficult to see the rhythm for the left hand. And then measure 18, 19, 20. Measure 21, the staccatos are, it's something about the way it's written, the way it's printed and lined up on the page. So, I mean, I know the staccatos are there, but my hands just don't want to do it the way it's written. It looks like it should be all legato. And then it would be easier to play. So, I don't know. I don't know quite how to fix that. Maybe if the left hand was also staccato. As pianists, we're so used to just the music looking a certain way that if it looks different, then it's really hard to read. One, two, three. So the challenge with this piece is that some measures are written in 3/4 and some measures are written in 6/8. So as the player, I have to like really concentrate on, oh, that looks like 6/8 time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's supposed to be 1, 2, as pianists, we want to just be able to look at the music and just play it. The beginning of it is very straightforward. 1, 2, 3, 4. But after that, we have quarter note triplets, and then quarter note triplets with eighth notes, and then quarter note triplets with eighth notes in a different rhythm, and then we go sort of into just a straightforward march rhythm. But again, the beaming is in the wrong place, so it's not clear where the rhythm actually, where the beats should actually fall. So in measure 13, the beaming, like every time you have a beam on top of the notes, it tells you that that many notes makes up one count. So we're in 4/4 time, so it's beamed very clearly. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, it's not. I've misread this. So the next two notes are an eighth note beamed to a dotted eighth note. And that's too many counts for it to be one quarter note. If it's going to be syncopated like that, it should be, again, this is the measure 13, the third count. It should be 2 eighth notes, and then the second eighth note, the C, should be tied to a 16th, and that way that 16th would be beamed to the next beat. So I think with both hands together, I think what the composer intends is no, see, I'm not sure. Maybe something like that. Going on through the piece, in measure 20, we have quarter notes and then octaves in a quintuplet. Yeah, 5. But that's over 2 quarter notes. So if you're going to have mixed rhythms, it's better to have just single notes. No. I mean, even if I only play one note at a time, as 5 against 2, well. And going on from there, like in measure 22, all of a sudden we have 30-second notes. And again, it's that 30-second note run is written so you could possibly do it with 2 hands, but then you lose out on all the bass part. Okay, the other issue with this piece, just starting from the top of the page, you have in the left hand, you have whole chords with a bass line. So if I'm going to hold the, okay, so this piano doesn't even have a sustain pedal. So you would need the third pedal in the middle to sustain that chord while you play the left hand bass line. So there's no way to sustain it because like this piano doesn't even have that pedal. I'll play just the beginning of this. I'll play like the first 12 bars. I do have a couple comments about this. It's written in a very pianistic manner. The left hand accompaniment follows the same pattern as it changes chords. And there's a nice little variant there because the line goes up instead of down. So that makes it easy to play, easy to read. It's a little confusing where we have quarter note, rest, quarter note, rest. So it seems like it's starting out very lyrically. But instead, there are rests written in. So I'm not sure if that's on purpose or by accident. So it would make it more clear if in the first measure, in the right hand, if you add in a slur over those first 4 notes, then we know for sure that in the second measure, the notes really should be detached. And if that's not the way it's supposed to be, then in measure 2, you can make the 2 quarter notes into half notes instead. And then we would know to make it a long lyric line.